All right, so I've been getting some questions about the podcast that I made last night about fighting against misinformation and how to spot misinformation, how to spot good information, and how to trust yourself instead of trusting the person on the screen. So I got some questions from people curious about learning more about the subject. So I'm going to go over every single question that I got. And by the end of this video, you should expect to not really trust anyone on the internet, but you will learn how to trust yourself and how to decipher information for yourself, especially if you're a health practitioner or you're a personal trainer or you're a fitness coach trying to give advice to people. This video is going to teach you how to know why your program works, right? We all know that a calorie deficit helps you lose fat, but why? I'm not going to talk strictly about calorie deficit. That'll be another video, but this video will teach you the basics of how to fight against internet misinformation. So without further ado, let's get right into it and just make sure this is working. All right. So how to spot and evaluate misinformation on the internet, fitness edition. All right. So step one is obviously hearing and seeing information. You're scrolling and someone's giving you some information, and what do you do next? How do I know if this is good or bad info? Number one, pause before you react. All right, bad info and sometimes good info, they try to trigger emotion before logic. Right, they try to hit some of your pain points. They try to make you angry or super happy or excited or confused. They'll try to trigger some type of emotion so that you continue to stick around and watch the whole video. That's just the game of social media. So anytime you see information that interests you, always pause and don't take it at face value. All right. Never look at someone's claim and be like, oh, yep, he's right, and move on with your day, because it's not worth it. Because then you're going to go and spread that claim. And that's how misinformation starts, right? When you spread misinformation to someone who's not informed and they trust you, right? That's how it spreads. And understand that no matter how smart they sound, they could be so wrong. So I need you to ask yourself a few things. Number one, what claim are they actually making? Is their claim absolute, right? Are they saying, if you don't do this, you will never lose fat? Or are they saying, every time you do this, you will 100% lose fat just because it worked with me, right? Ask yourself, what are they implying that I should do different? All right, so let's go take a look at a couple examples here. Let me just make sure this works. Perfect. All right, let's take a look.
Fried eggs are bad for weight loss. Scrambled eggs are good. Hard-boiled eggs are excellent.
So what is his claim here? He's saying that fried eggs are bad for weight loss and hard-boiled eggs are excellent for weight loss. Scrambled eggs are decent for weight loss. All right. So let's go back and look. Someone who eats fried eggs every day gets triggered by this video. They're like, oh my God, I'm trying to lose weight, but I'm eating fried eggs. And then they start questioning their whole plan. They start questioning their whole program. All right. So pause before you react. Never take a claim at face value. No matter how smart they look or sound, they could be so wrong. Okay. So what claim are they making? Fried eggs are bad. Right? Is it absolute? Yes. He says they're bad for weight loss. He doesn't say they could be bad compared to other things. He says they are bad for weight loss. And what is he implying that you should do different? Eat hard-boiled eggs instead of fried eggs. Okay. Step two, how to look deeper into the claim, right? Look out for vague language like bad, right? So look out for vague language and reframe their words in your own mind. So he says fried eggs are bad for weight loss, but let's reframe that to fried eggs can be a less effective option depending on the amount of oil or butter used to fry it than egg whites, which have less fat in them. But if calories are controlled, both options can work. Do you see the reason why people don't make claims like this? Because you probably were like, dude, all right, get on with the sentence already. But it's super important so that we can prevent the spread of information like this. Because someone's going to look at this and say, oh, I got to stop eating fried eggs. But someone gives out information like this, and they actually sit through and listen to it. They're like, oh, you know what? I can still eat fried eggs, but I might have to control the amount of butter I put in there. All right. So he's trying to invoke emotion into overweight people who are dieting, right, without getting any context from these people. Like, what are their daily habits? How many calories do they eat a day? How much do they move? Do they lift? Do they get 10,000 steps a day? All of these things are super important in the context of this claim. All right. So this guy saying that fried eggs are always bad. It's like, in what context? Under what nuance? What is this person's activity level? We got to start thinking about the bigger picture when we think about a claim. All right. Now the next step is evaluating the evidence for that claim. All right. Anecdotes are not evidence. Right. First of all, this guy didn't give any evidence, so that's a huge red flag. Huge red flag. No evidence. He just says fried eggs are bad. All right. So you should never trust things like that. But if he said something like, I lost weight doing this, so it has to work for you, that is not a valid claim. That is an anecdote. All right. Anecdotes or correlation does not mean causation. Right. So what you need to do is look out for randomized control trials, meta-analyses, mechanisms and outcome data. Start to understand what calories are. Read textbooks on nutrition. But start by just understanding what a calorie deficit is, why our body decides to burn body fat when we are in a calorie deficit. For example, understand the concept that fat is just energy. We store fat so that we could survive for longer as human beings, right? So when we eat less calories than what our body burns, we need to pull from those fat stores. It's a survival mechanism. So understand that, for example. Is it based on outcome studies or is it based on speculation or personal experience? Does his evidence support the claim? Again, he has no evidence, so no. And if evidence is provided, is it cherry-picked? All right. So let's take a look at one study I found on eggs. All right. I was just looking around for studies on eggs, and this one basically concludes that any eggs at breakfast enhances weight loss. All right. They took otherwise healthy, overweight, or obese participants. They put one on an egg diet, on a bagel diet, or I think like an egg. Let's see. Based on the prescription of either an egg breakfast containing 2 eggs, or a breakfast containing bagels that had the same amount of calories as the eggs. So both groups are eating 340 calories, but one group's eating eggs, one group's eating bagels. Okay. Now both of these groups were suggested a 1,000 calorie deficit, low-fat diet. All right. Whereas the bagel and egg groups were asked not to change their energy intake. Right. So what's the conclusion? After 8 weeks, the egg diet group saw a 61% greater reduction in BMI, so they lost more fat. What's the conclusion? The egg breakfast enhances weight loss. So if you eat eggs but you're in a calorie deficit, right, they say explicitly that when combined with an energy deficit, it does not induce weight loss in a free living condition, meaning if calories are not controlled, it does not matter what you eat, you're still going to gain fat. But the inclusion of eggs in a weight management program may offer a nutritious supplement. Like, this is a perfect claim because they're not speaking in absolutes. They're providing nuance. They're providing context. They're saying that if you eat eggs, it may help you lose more body fat. It may be a good nutritious supplement, not just eggs are bad or fried eggs are bad or hard-boiled eggs are bad. All right, so there's just one example there. Now, how do you decide what's good and what's bad? All right. Test the evidence for it and the evidence against it. All right, so for every one study I find that eggs can help, I'll find one that eggs can't help. But look into the why. All right, look into the why eggs help in that one study, why they didn't help in that one study. For example, in this study, it probably helped because they were in a calorie deficit. And eggs have good protein in them. They have healthy fats in them. When compared to bagels, right? Bagels are just carbs. Nothing wrong with carbs, but there's no protein or healthy fats in bagels. So obviously, when calories are controlled, the group that's eating protein, the group that's eating healthy fats are going to have more success. But all of that context and nuance is required. We cannot just be like, bagels are bad, eggs are good. Right? Okay, so see which side, if either, holds up more than the other. Find 2 claims, one for, one against. See which one kind of has more holes in it. See which one makes more sense. The best way to defend a claim is to understand every counterclaim, right? If you believe fried eggs are not bad, like I do, understand why people may think they are bad and come to a conclusion using both sides. For example, I understand why people may think they are bad, because fried eggs are generally fried in more oil and butter, which adds more calories, which obviously does not help with your weight loss program, right? So a good conclusion to come to would be, based on current evidence and critical thinking, this claim is strongly or weakly supported. A bad conclusion is this is 100% true in all cases, like what this guy did. This is 100% true in all cases. Misinformation doesn't just spread because people are stupid, all right? So with that, I'm going to show you a good example. Let's see.
1 pack of cigarettes every day. It will take about 7 to 10 years off your life. But if you walk by some cigarette smoke on the street just one time, it won't take even 1 second off your life. If you drink 1 liter of water, you will be more hydrated. But if you drank 1 liter of water every hour until just the end of the day, you would get water toxicity and essentially drown from the inside out. The dose is what makes the poison.
Bang, right there what he said. The dose is what makes the poison. He's providing nuance. He's providing context. He's not saying all water is bad or you need to drink water to lose weight. He's saying it depends on how much water you drink. It depends on how many cigarettes you smoke. What other lifestyle factors are we taking into play?
For everything. So when that guy who's always filming in aisle 7 tells you that the aspartame in diet soda is killing you, he's technically right. Like everything else, at a certain amount, aspartame can hurt us. And researchers tested it on over 1.1 million people.
Right here is the counterclaim. He looked at the evidence and tried to understand why these people think aspartame is so bad for you. He dug into the opposite side of the claim. Right? He's trying to understand the other side of the claim that he's making. And then he's digging deeper.
To tell us exactly where that safe limit is. And for aspartame, that's between...
He's providing evidence. He's providing meta-analysis from certified resources.
40 and 50 milligrams
He's giving direct numbers of what's generally a safe limit.
per kilogram you weigh per day. Or in English, that would mean someone my size.
He's putting things in layman terms. Instead of just giving you the science, he's actually giving visuals for you to understand, all right? Intelligence is not based on what you know, but it's based on how you explain it to people. If you can get someone who has no idea what you're talking about to understand what you're saying by boiling the main points down.
Around 220 pounds, would need to drink at least 48 cans of Coke Zero every day for the rest of their life for aspartame to just maybe start
becoming a problem. Do you see the point here? He's not speaking in absolutes. He's speaking with speculation. Maybe start becoming a problem. At least 220 pounds.
Becoming a problem. And most people don't realize Coke Zero is 99% water by weight.
He's adding more context, more nuance.
Meaning you would die faster from the water in these Coke Zeros before the aspartame ever gave you a single health problem. Things usually aren't as bad as people make them seem like online. Remember, fear goes viral.
Fear goes viral. Exactly what I was saying at the beginning of this video, right? Bad info triggers emotion before it triggers logic.
Not necessarily the truth. If you...
All right, so there was a good example, and not to mention in his comments in the bio, he put sources to the studies he used. Let's check this guy. Nothing. Bad, good, excellent weight loss swaps. Greek yogurt over ice cream. I mean, Greek yogurt over ice cream. Duh. But like, why? He's not saying why. He's not giving you context. He's just saying bad, good, excellent. All right. So test the evidence for it, evidence against it. See which side holds up more than the other side, if any. All right. It's okay to be like, hey, we don't really know. That's fine. All right. Misinformation does not spread because people are stupid. It spreads because people make bold, black and white claims online to get more views rather than give the boring, nuanced take. Now, what this guy does really well is giving the boring, nuanced take while making the video super engaging. All right? So this is great. This is awesome. I'm going to follow this guy. If you learn this process, you do not need to trust me or anyone. All right? All you need to do is trust your ability to decipher information instead. All right? So I hope this video was helpful. Like and subscribe to fight against internet misinformation, and drop a comment on what topic you want me to cover next. What struggles you may be having as far as fitness, but hopefully we can end or fight against the war of misinformation, and hopefully we can win, even though we probably won't because AI exists now, but whatever. Peace. All right, before I end this video, my brother has something to say about the topic. He overheard me talking about this.
I am on a calorie deficit, and I was just about to ask him. I'm going out with my friends right now, and we want to go hang out. You know, we're still young, we're still teenagers, and they want to go to Dave's Hot Chicken. But I'm on a calorie deficit. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna not eat Dave's Hot Chicken? No, I'm gonna eat it, but I'm gonna fit it within my goals. What I was going to do, I was gonna ask you, what can I get that will fit within my program that won't be too destroying?
Perfect. Great question. So, one, for starters, I would recommend having some sort of protein before you leave the house, because this is going to make you less hungry while you're there. It's going to make you crave less food. Now, number two, when you're actually there, I don't want you to not eat Dave's Hot Chicken because it's bad for you. Just like the guy was saying fried eggs are bad. Obviously, grilled chicken from home is going to be better. But when you're going out, it's okay to have it. Maybe just don't get the 3 chicken tenders and a fry and the bread.
Yeah,
Maybe let's get 2 chicken tenders and a few fries,
I'll
right?
probably cut out the fries. I haven't been enjoying fries because they make me feel, a little bloated and a little greasy, I could, if I wanted to, fit it in, but I probably will take it out because I don't need the extra calories.
Right, because if you could fit it in theory, but then when you get home, you don't really have any calories left,
Yes.
right?
Which you can fit it in. It just depends on how much you want to eat or what you look forward to in eating. It all has a certain factor that it depends on.
Awesome.
But I just want to say that. But
Yeah, man.
I'm about to go to Ron quick.
Awesome. Have fun. All right, well, yep, that's it for the video. That was a cool little example there, but peace. Take care.